This is a Regal 28 Express. It's 2 years old and it's for sale with my friend Tom at One Marine, and it's a very nice little boat. A great first boat, or a great step up from something like a speedboat or a sports boat. So I'm going to give you, of course, the full tour. We're going into every area except the crew cabin, because it doesn't have one. It's obviously just a small owner operated weekender, or indeed you could spend a week on this actually very comfortably for a couple. Let's step on board via the bathing platform and I'll show you what it's all about. So the first thing we've got here is the sunbed, which you might think looks a little small, but quite cleverly what it does is this backrest here. There's a little lever which I can operate with my knee, so I can hold a GoPro and operate it at the same time, and that you can then move into different locations like that. And in fact, if you remove the cockpit table, it will fold all the way down flat to make a really big sun pad right the way across here. So that's a rather neat way of using those areas for whatever it is you want to do. And this table, you can see, just sits in a socket in the floor, so that's removable if you wanted to, and you've got cup holders tucked away and stereo speakers and all that kind of stuff is here. This canopy comes right off. This one has got the radar arch, so this section here that goes around the black section, you can see that shiny, that is solid GRP. But in actual fact, what you can do with that is what they call a power tower. It's actually power operated, and you can drop that down electrically so it lies on the windscreen. So if you're towing the boat, for example, which is very popular in America where this boat's built, that allows you to get the air draft right down. What else have we got here? There's a little ice box down here. That's just to drop some ice into and keep your drinks cold, and there's a little wet bar above it as well. This is quite neat, this chalon here, because it means you've got somewhere for people to sit, but also it's a great area to lie out and to tuck yourself away, as Jack Lissac is doing at the minute. And then you've got the Helm over on the starboard side. This is a lift bolster, so if you want to stand and drive the boat, you can do very easily. And then here you've got things like obviously your throttle control. This is a kill switch, so you can clip that to yourself, and if you were to fall over somehow or fall out of the boat, that would pull that out and shut the engine down. So it's quite a useful safety feature. Probably less likely to be using that on a boat of this size, but nonetheless it's a nice thing to have. And if we look around here, these are the trim tab controls. We've got the engine instrumentation. This one's got a Garmin chart plotter on it as well, which is rather nice. So you've got various functions that you can do with this. As you can see, you've got fishing charts on here and 3D charts and all kinds of stuff, which is rather clever. And then your engine instrumentation is all grouped together here. So that's your fuel, your volts, your temperature, oil pressure, that kind of stuff. And then that's depth on that one just there. And then switch gear across here for your horns and your blowers and nav lights and so forth. Let's head on inside. We'll have a look at the cabin first, and then we'll have a look around the outside and at the engines. So we'll step down here. This is a very nicely appointed cabin. I like what they've done here. I like the colour scheme. I love the flooring. I think that looks excellent. This has got a dehumidifier on it. It's quite a good idea in the winter. Just keeps everything nice and dry. I've got one of those on my boat at the moment. Now this will drop down to infill to make that into a double bed. It's quite clever, because you see how these side sections are shaped just there. Those become the infill cushions that go on here, so you don't have to have cushions lying around the place which always get in the way. You just use your backrest cushions. And this one here, you can see there's little hinges at the front. If we lift that up, that is designed to take that cockpit table, and it's also storage as well, as you can see. And then a little mirror there at the front and a hatch up above. On this side's the galley. It's a single burner hob, and you've got the microwave in here as well. Fridge is here, and there's a sink underneath that one. And this boat's got a TV fitted as well up in here, which is rather neat. And then down here there's a particularly large double bed, considering the size of the boat. It was actually a queen size bed apparently, so that is very good. And because it's completely open here, you don't feel too claustrophobic in there, but there are curtains that you can bring across. You can see them here and here, so you can have a bit of privacy there if you want it. And then also down here, of course, is the heads. That's in here, and that acts like a wet room. So you've got your sink, but you've also got a shower rose up in the ceiling just there, and storage in places like this. Very nice. That's the drain there, so when you're showering, that's of course where the water goes, and you can see there's a shower curtain hooked up around the back there. So that is the interior. Let's go and have a look up on deck at some of the other areas. Now this boat, as I mentioned earlier, is designed so that it could be trailered, and therefore the beam is kept to within 8'6", and what that means is that they take the cockpit all the way out to the edges. There's no side decks, and that maximises the space in here, and it means that if you want to get up onto the foredeck, well then what you do is you slide this one across. That latches, very important to make sure that latches for obvious reasons, and then this opens, and then it's a fairly easy walk through to get up onto the deck. This is nice, the way they've stainless steel frame around here rather than just the aluminium. That's good. And you can see then you've got the sunbathing cushions up here on the front. That's that opening hatch that we saw inside, and there's two more opening hatches here, so plenty of ventilation. And then right at the front, let's come down the outside of here, electric anchor winch, and these are the buttons for it, and the chain locker is here. Nice little lights about the place as well, it's rather neat, and the anchor itself is on the roller at the front. These, in case you're wondering, are fender baskets, so when you pull your fenders in, you can just drop the fenders into there, out of the way. Very nice. Okay, let's head on back a bit further, and we'll find the engine room, or the engine space. Room is possibly over egging it a little bit. So we'll come back down here, and the engine is underneath this area. So there's a button that we can press. I need to just move the carpet out of the way, like so. And here we can see one named hatch lift. We press that, and you can see that whole back area lifting up now, and that's giving us access then into the engine space. Okay, let's come round here onto the bathing platform. You can see there's a ladder on here, which is quite a useful thing. That's underneath here, so when you're swimming you've got an easy route on and off the boat. Shore power connections, that's 240 volt, a ring made on the boat, and then the engine itself, that's down here. It's a 300 horsepower V8 Volvo Penta petrol engine. There we go. You can see in there as well twin battery installation, so if you're running all your auxiliary power like lights and radio and you run it down, you've got a spare battery to start the engine with, and a fairly decent amount of space in there really. In terms of performance, I'm guessing a bit, I would have thought you're looking 30 knots plus with that engine, somewhere in that region, but yeah, plenty of space in around there. It's good. This is quite neat as well. They put this little area here for spares or oil or whatever you want to put into there. Let's drop that one back down. There we go. And then the carpet just drops into place. Like so. That's actually a transom door, so you can lift that, move it across, and it drops down and secures. So that's great, particularly if you've got young children. That keeps the cockpit nice and protected. A couple of other things to show you. That is a manual bilge pump. Underneath there it's got electric pumps, but that's a manual backup pump. Stereo speakers obviously. And the other thing we've got out here is a transom shower. That's this one. So being in swimming, you can give yourself a nice shower afterwards. And that is about that Regal 28 Express. Very smart little boat, as I say, great first step on the water, or a great step up from something like a rib or a speedboat or that kind of thing. Hope you've enjoyed that tour. I'll put details of the broker in the description, of course. And as ever, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on another one very soon. Take care. Bye bye.